everybody. Welcome back to the Honey and Absent channel. We are your hosts. I'm Vincent, a background designer for animation.
I'm Janet, an ex-Disney artist turned independent creator. And today, what are we doing today?
Wait, I was about to ask you that. What are we doing today?
I'm going to be drawing a My Hero crossover with Bleach ink commission because I was commissioned to do it over on our website, honeyandabsent.com. You can get your own commission if you want.
Yeah, check the description down below.
So we're gonna react to me drawing it and take you along with us.
All right, let's do it.
Let's do it.
Okay, now, so what's going on here? So it looks like you're doing a lay-in for all these characters.
Yeah, I am drawing the mannequins is what I call it, and you can see I'm holding a phone because I take reference pictures of myself to figure out all the hands and all the details because like I cannot figure all that stuff out on my own in my head. And now I go in and I make sure all the expressions look good.
Mm-hmm.
It's really important for me for the faces to look good first and foremost, because if the face doesn't look good, it really doesn't matter anything else in the drawing. So I know it looks kind of weird because everyone's bald and they all kind of look naked. But I do that before. Here I'm drawing the hair.
Yeah.
And it's all the extra stuff, like the hair and the costume, they're extra. What's underneath, like the body and the expressions of the actual human body is the most important part.
How do you get those really good, coy, like sometimes sultry expressions that you do? These are really expressive characters. Do you have any tips for anybody who want to achieve this sort of look?
I mean, I feel like I did a lot of life drawing, like head drawing. So I also like to copy expressions from photographs. So I'm not entirely making it up in my head, actually. It's just I have a library of faces and expressions that I like to use. But I honestly think my library of expressions is not actually that big. There are a lot of artists much more talented than I am who I think can pull out so many different types of expressions.
Yeah.
And I feel like I've nailed the sultry look.
I think so.
But I mean, it can always get better. But yeah. It's just I've copied a lot of portrait studies and stuff.
But yeah, that hand was tough.
Yeah. You guys didn't see, but we cut out like an entire hour of me struggling with that hand, and I had to take so many reference photos because a lot of reference photos.
I even posed for you.
Yeah.
I was your hand
I just
model.
couldn't figure it out.
Oh, look at those lines, guys. Oh my gosh. They're so delicate.
So after the drawing is tight, and I know a lot of other people don't need such a tight drawing underneath before they start inking. For example, Jim Lee is a crazy beast of a man. He just kind of doodles and then he figures out a lot of the stuff in the inking process, which I don't even know.
That's amazing.
Yeah. But I need the drawing to be really tight before I start doing this initial line.
Yeah. It helps you not, you don't have to think too hard about what you need to do, especially since you've drawn it out very carefully.
Yeah, and I do plus it in the this phase of it. Like if I notice the drawing isn't particularly completely accurate, which sometimes I am not patient enough with certain areas of the body, I will plus it or make it better and adjust the perspective. But sometimes I might end up messing it up, but that's okay. That's what whiteout is for.
Dude, Bakugo's outfit's so wild.
I know. I actually think he's the most well-designed My Hero character. And I think we never explained. I'm drawing Bakugo, Urakaka, Orihime, and Ichigo. Yes.
Seems as though this person who commissioned you really loves like shonen manga.
Yeah, and I think they really like the tough boy with the sweet girl.
I see.
So they like both, and they want a crossover.
Nice.
Here, with the women, I have to be really extra careful and delicate. I think I have a tendency to not thicken my lines enough, but it's because especially because I draw girls a lot, I make sure the lines are really delicate. Otherwise, it just won't look as graceful as I like it, I guess.
Yeah. And right there, you tested sort of the value of that ink, right?
Yeah.
How light it's gonna be. It's pretty cool.
So I put this giant piece of paper underneath on my drawing desk so I can just do that. I know a lot of people have like test paper or whatever. I just use whatever I'm drawing on top of. And it's always important to do that because you don't, especially with ink, you don't want to accidentally put something too dark on when you're toning things.
Nice. And you're adding Copic here for Bakugo's eyes.
I like to fill in the eyes before I move on to the next process because it just looks kind of weird and zombified if I don't.
You give it like a soul.
Yeah.
Once you start putting the eyes in there, huh?
Yeah.
Now you're darkening the eyelids.
Yeah, because sometimes, because this piece is actually 11 by 17, it's a pretty big traditional piece. I had to use a thicker brush. I mean, again, I have a hard time drawing lines as thick as they need to be right off the bat. So a lot of times I'll like go in and thicken certain things like the top of the eyelids and stuff like that.
Oh my God, guys, look at those. Look at those shapes that you're designing.
Yeah, so a lot of people have asked me how I figure out where the highlights are, and honestly, half of it is directional light, like figuring out, oh, the light's coming from this angle, and it's normally when you're painting hair, there's gonna be like a highlight right around the crown, but everything else, it's more designed, and I have a pretty vast experience painting things like metal and glass, so I use that mentality of like how the reflections work. So I guess a good way to figure out how I design the highlights of hair is to study how metal reflects off of things.
Yeah, definitely understand how light reflects reflects objects and things like that. And now you're going in, darkening Bakugo's eye mask, and you're adding highlights and designing highlights to that too.
Yeah. So something that I've really worked on in the past few months is like designing dark and shadow shapes. Like on Bakugo's shirt, I don't fill his entire, the black areas of his shirt all the way in because it's really not so interesting to look at if you're filling blacks in like they just completely.
I love the gradation in Bakugo's titty area.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
The kind of you went from like really dark, chunky dark, and then you kind of like did some like hatching on the top to really make it look like it's turning or something like that.
Yeah, like it's getting slightly lighter.
Yeah, as it goes up. Oh, that's so dope.
Yeah, I used to just fill blacks in completely, and it's just not a sophisticated way of inking like dark shadow shapes.
You really want to plan it out, right? At least a little bit.
I think I could get better at it. There's some people who are really good at it, and I'm still getting better at it.
There's also this thing. I think someone mentioned in one of your TikToks that they really love how you age up a lot of the characters, especially the My Hero ones, because the way you draw them, they almost seem like they're Young Justice characters or something like that.
Yeah, I mean, I think I'm more comfortable drawing people in their 20s. Especially like when you're learning how to draw in school and stuff like that. You rarely draw people, like, I'm assuming all of My Hero characters are around 14, 15, 16. You rarely get to draw that body type, and nor do I actually want to because I'm not 16.
You just can't relate to it on a personal level.
Yeah,
and especially when you're doing art, you want to like try to make it personal.
Yeah.
You know, make it exciting for you, I guess.
So I like drawing them a little bit.
Oh my God, look at the reflections that you added to his stuffs.
Yeah, at this point,
Oh, dope.
I'm just going in and like toning things that after I've designed all the dark shadow shapes, I'm adding tone and texture where it needs to be. So like, especially with things like Bakugo's armor, I guess is what it is. I like to make sure they look reflective. It adds that extra bit of texture and interest. I think I can get better at doing it. I think I'm due for some studies.
Yeah, for sure.
To just refresh my memory of what metal behaves like and stuff like that.
Yeah. Oh, now you're adding color. This is watercolor, right?
Yeah. So recently, I have been mixing Copics with watercolor. I like using Copics on costumes, and I like using watercolor on skin and hair. I think it gives it that nice look. Like the difference in texture is kind of neat.
Nice. And like, how do you decide? And I know kind of because we talk it through. But like, how do you explain to the audience how we decide what medium goes where? You know, like it could have been like watercolor for their outfits, and then Copic for their hair. Could be the other way, but
I honestly think it's just experimental.
I think so too,
Yeah.
and I think it's like, for me, you could layer Copics to make Orihime's hair look like that, but I think the watercolor gives it more of like a graceful, delicate look.
Yeah, I also. It's something I learned from you actually, and you learned from manga artists.
Yes.
I like to go over the watercolor or the Copic with color pencil.
Yeah.
It really gives it a heft, and not everywhere too.
You have to be selective.
Yeah.
For sure.
So now I went in and I toned the entire background gray, and I'm adding these gold designed shapes, and they are basically Orihime's hairpins. It's her power thing. That was a special request from the commissioner.
Cool.
So I was just trying to design it so it looks interesting.
Yeah, and when you get a commission from us, we do our best to personalize it.
Yeah. For you, if you have any requests specifically, or if you want to leave it completely
Up to us. Let us know.
Yeah.
Yeah, and now you're adding final sparkles and things.
It's my favorite part to add the sparkles, and it's hard for me to hold back.
And it's done. I hope you really enjoyed that. Let us know in the comments below who you'd like to see Janet draw next, or maybe even a tutorial.
And if you want to support this channel, go to honeynapkin.com for our merch. I'm wearing the fight shirt today, and if you want to get your own commission, that's where you get it too. And don't forget to touch, jingle,
and flick
your
bells and buttons.
See you next time.
Bye-bye.